Hello, lovely people. Okay, no more messing around. I'm done with SQ. Let's go with SPL. Now, obviously, I'm joking. I'm not gonna leave these alone, but I want to test out these. So, a few months ago, I think I did kind of a review of these super cheap SPL type mid-range speakers, and I do have some bullet tweeters as well. So Baseface is a brand very well known in the UK. It's kind of a budget stuff. Yeah, they were a bit dusty. These speakers ran like probably like £30 for a pair or something like £35. Super cheap. And what I want to see is I want to compare. I just want to see how it sounds like, because I never tried anything similar, especially bullets. So the plan is I'm gonna use the door. I'm not gonna use the kicks. And oh yeah, so this MDF was installed 3 months ago or something during like the rainy season in the UK, and you can see it's still fine. It's not flaking or anything. There's no protection, no nothing. So I don't see any water damage so far. So maybe, I don't know, maybe my doors are kind of okay. But again, for testing, it's perfectly fine. Yes, this is weather stripping for the house. I'm not going to use good foam for this. It's perfectly fine. I'm just going to flop it in there. Just like that. It's going to be perfectly fine. More than enough. And yeah, I'm going to do both sides. I'm not sure which bullets I'm going to use. It's going to be like a two-way with mid-range. So as I mentioned when I was doing the review of these, I want to see like how is it possible to tune like a Pro Audio two-way. And again, I aimed for the cheapest possible speakers because most bass heads start with that. They buy like DS18, which is like equivalent of this, and costs something like similar, and cheaper bullets. Bass face as well. So I'm gonna put these in the door, and these bullets, I don't know where to put them, to be honest. So my thinking is, because I know I saw a lot of people like have them like on the side next to the mid. So because they're supposed to be very shouty and like aiming towards you, it's not the best idea. So maybe I'm just gonna literally fix it next to in the door panel, like with double sticky tape or something, just literally just for testing. It's not going to be permanent install or anything. And then maybe I'm going to put them here, like again with something sticky, maybe clay or whatever. I'm not going to make any kind of metal brackets or anything, because again, it's just for testing. And I will be testing the response. So I will be measuring RTA of these in the doors. We will see how they play, how low, how high. And these are more important because it's very interesting to see how these bullets behave. So these are a bit smaller ones, and these are a bit larger. And yeah, they're a bit dusty. And again, we're going to test RTA. We're going to see if we can meet them. I'm going to try to measure the distortion as well, because it's just literally near field measurement for distortion. So microphone next to the grill and this, and the same with the tweeters. Near field distortion, I'm not going to bother with all like edge diffraction and all that kind of stuff. It's perfectly fine. So the distortion for the tweeters, because I want to see how low they can be crossed, where distortion rises up in the lower frequencies, and can they meet. And yeah, maybe here, maybe there. So I'm going to put these in, and then I'm going to do some RTA measurements, and we will see what we're working with. Okay, so I have the doors installed there. Now for the tweeters, so I have two different tweeters, but both of them are bullets. So one of them is this, which is, how much is it rated? 120 watts. This one is 120 watts as well. RMS. Yeah. So these have protection capacitors they usually have in the packaging. So I'm going to connect the protection capacitors, and I'm going to take a measurement with the capacitors just to see where they cross, where they're supposed to be, because those caps are recommended by the manufacturer, so they should be safe. And then after that, I'm going to ditch the caps and connect it directly to the amplifier, like without any protection, with the DSP obviously. And then for the placement, so Okay, so this probably will be the worst possible way to have a bullet tweeter right in your face, but I'm gonna try it just to see what happens. And yeah, so that's one. Then I'm probably gonna try really off axis, something like this, just to have it firing, because I know, like, I've seen a few SPL builds like in Facebook, and just these tweeters are firing literally anywhere. They have, like, in pillars, they have like 4 or 6 of them firing away because they're too harsh firing front. So something like this. And then because I don't want to make any kind of fixings or anything, because I'm not going to have it. It's just literally for testing to measure the frequency response. And then I'm going to put them like here. I have this shelf, so I'm going to literally put them just like that, and they're going to be like firing to the side, something like that, because I cannot put them low, because maybe I'm going to put something in there and just have it there as well. But this is like literally firing into your leg, into the seat, so I don't know if anything is going to come through. Maybe like up to like 3-4 kilohertz, maybe, I don't know, we'll see, because they're supposed to be like very directional, like laser beams. So again, I don't know. I'm gonna have it like this, and exactly the same on the other side, one there and maybe in there. And I'm gonna test both, and we'll see what happens. This is actually very interesting, because I literally never played these, so I have no idea how they sound or anything. But yeah, first, literally just raw responses with no tuning, no nothing. And then I'm gonna try to somehow blend them and just have a two-way. And since I guarantee these doors are not gonna play low at all, like from the doors with normal speakers, like with these, I have response down to maybe 80 or something, and then it kind of falls off a cliff. So I will have my trusty front subwoofer. This one can play up to like 200 or something, so I can easily cross the two-way with the bullets with this one. So I'll have to cross the front subwoofer much higher just to cover the gap. Obviously the stage is gonna suffer, but again, I'm not worried about this. The only thing I want to see is I want to try how they sound, and then I'm gonna take distortion measurements just to see what they can do. Okay, so let me connect some stuff and let's take some measurements and see what happens. Okay, so if you watch any of my videos, probably you know that I'm not afraid to show any kind of janky stuff, because I do janky stuff, because why not? So these wires that I ran from the doors like a while ago, I cut them short because I never use them. So I have them these, and instead of running the whole wires into the back into the amplifiers, I have these connections for my mid-range, tweeter, and mid-bass here. So like XT connectors, just to quick connect, disconnect. So what I'm gonna do is literally, I'm just gonna take some wires and I'm gonna jab them in there, because again, this is only for measurements. I'm not gonna drive like this or anything. So yeah, this is gonna be my janky way of measuring stuff. I'm not gonna do it with a hand. But anyway, just jab it in there and take the measurements, because yeah, why should I spend like half an hour running wires? Because again, it's just for testing. So yeah, janky stuff when you test stuff is nothing bad, nothing wrong, as long as you don't have that kind of stuff permanently installed. So yeah, cool stuff. Okay, lovely people, so I'm sitting in the car, I'm listening to the music, and I'm laughing to myself. Okay, so yeah, everything is super janky. This firing there, this there, this there, that there. Okay, I want to show you something. Look, so yeah, I'm running only these two and these two. So front left is the tweeter, so I have absolutely nothing. Right, absolutely nothing. Mid in the doors, only protection crossover, 70 hertz, and right mid this. So absolutely no EQ, nothing. The only thing I have is time alignment. And the only thing that I had to do, so if you see the levels, 0, 0, the tweeters, both of them, I had to pull down by 10 decibels because they're super shouty. I will show you individual RTA like for everything, but I just want to show you this. So just time alignment, and both tweeters pull down 10 dB, and I have this. with the subwoofer. This is obviously with a subwoofer, so they play down to like what, 80, 90, let's say down to 100, something like this. So this response is all of them playing. And the thing is, I don't know, like when I first put Alpine status with passive crossovers, I was like, I couldn't imagine, you have expectations and you're gonna imagine that it's gonna sound like literally like shit. So the status with passives sounded very good. Like, not perfect, but good. These, like, the cheapest drivers in factory locations, firing, whatever, they sound good. And the thing is, I'm not really, I'm not shitting with you. I'm not lying. It's just because I am so surprised. Obviously, they don't sound the same like this or like any kind of high-end stuff. Obviously not. The doors rattle. Yes, they do rattle. One thing that I noticed, I was checking the ammo positioning tracks, and it does image. It does image, not perfectly. Some frequencies bounce, but like, I want to say like 80% everything is there. One thing on the higher notes, so when you play on the left side and you have like ammo positioning tracks left side only, and you have those bells that go like into kilohertz, then you can hear like everything bouncing back and forth, because obviously of these reflections. This doesn't do that much. And when you're playing only the mid-ranges and the doors, only the mid-ranges, they do play quite high. And you have center. It's lower, it's somewhere like in there, but it is center. It does image, it does sound good. So now what I want to do, yeah, I will go through all the measurements one by one, but now what I want to do is, somehow I want to make this semi-permanent install. Because the thing is, I want to show people, if I'm going to go to any kind of meetings or anything, I want to show how literally 30 pounds, 20, 50 pounds of drivers sound, how they can sound. And I don't know, it's so surprising. So yeah, I will have to somehow redo this and fix them permanently, because I don't know. I'm very surprised. Now the only thing, I just need to make some measurements like on axis, because the only thing I tested is this, nothing else. And look, it's wow. Okay, let me take a few more measurements, and then we're gonna go through everything that I measured, and I'm gonna explain everything that I saw. Okay, so let's very quickly go through all these measurements, because there's very interesting stuff. So left mid, right mid, so these are in the doors. I put the mids, but it's like they're acting as a mid base. That's the left one, that's the right one. So from this we can see they play, this is no crossovers, absolutely no crossovers. Okay, they play kind of lowish, which is fine. They go down. I think they have like high QTS, which is fine. There's a dip in here in the mid-range area. And the surprising part is, look how high they're playing. So the left one, it plays all the way up to 5K. Most likely this is like a cone breakup, but there's a response there. The right one, the driver's side, it rolls off a bit earlier. You have problems here as well, but still up to 4K. The interesting part, I have measurements from the Alpine DP series that I had in there before. So if you compare, so left, the green one is the DP series. So DP series, you can see it doesn't play any low end. These play lower. And the same DP series roll down much earlier, and these play much higher. So this is the left side, which is the passenger side, and the right side, if we compare this with this, we have a similar situation. So these pro audio mid-ranges play lower like this. They have a response there. Obviously this is just off a cliff, there's nothing there, but they do play higher as well, which is kinda supposed to be like that, because pro audio should play very high, and the DP series is a dedicated 3-way, so it's supposed to be have a mid-range and a tweeter. Now the bullets, the most interesting thing is the bullets, the bullet tweeters. So left tweeter, Actually, so yeah, so left tweeter and right tweeter, and this is the mid-range. So you can see the mid-ranges is somewhere here, like 57 something like that, and the bullets are all the way up like plus 10 dB, and I turn them on, it's like, wow, it's so like ear piercing, like what you would expect. Yeah, so what I did, I turned down the bullets by 10 dB, minus 10 dB, left and right, and have something like this. So let me remove the mid-ranges. So you can see from this that they kind of overlap here, but not as much. And like if I remove this, they have a kind of similar response, I want to say. So the left one on the passenger side, it plays higher because it's more on axis. It's like maybe like 30 degrees or something like that. And the right one, since it's 70, 80 degrees off axis, it starts to roll off much earlier, like 13K. But like this area is kind of the same. Both of them have the protective tweeter capacitors, which cross them, I don't know really where, but I did measure them without the cross protective capacitors, and the response doesn't change much. So they just don't really like to play low. So this one on the left side, I would imagine this extra boost is due to like it's the tweeter being like in the corner. If you saw, like it's close to the sail panel, so like kind of almost loaded by the corner of the car, so it has a bit more low end. And yeah, like the response here from like 6K and up to 13, it's not bad at all. So if you would play like these only and you would like listen only to them, this peak at like 7, 8K, yes, it does sound really harsh. But when you pull them down, so like left and left, you see? So like this peak, if you pull the tweeter down, if you have it like this, it sounds really harsh and bad. But when you pull it down, oh, that's the right one. Left one, yeah. So left and left, yeah, so like this. But when you pull it down, it does add this energy a tiny bit into this area, but not as much. But like they do blend quite not bad. So left and right, I didn't change any time alignment because they're literally on the same plane. Like the sail panel tweeters and the mid-ranges, they're exactly in the same plane, so the distance is exactly the same. And this is the whole left side when they sum, just literally no EQ, no nothing. This is the sum of the left. So you see this one adds a tiny bit energy here, but not as much. And like since these mid-ranges play so high, they can reach the tweeter, and the tweeter adds only the bullet adds only the top end. And exactly the same with the right side. So right mid, a right tweeter, minus 10 dB, sorry. This one, right tweeter minus 10 dB. Or what I have, left tweeter. Okay, so right side, the driver side. On the driver side, obviously, the driver side null in the mid-bass response. This is because, I don't know, and then it starts to roll off. And then this tweeter doesn't play as low. And when they sum the right side, they don't really sum nice. Probably they need more tweaking. But again, I didn't play with time alignment at all. I just left them as they were. And yeah, you have this. So right, like this. So this is the right side, and this is the left whole side. So yeah, they don't play equally. Left would need to be, yeah, I didn't reduce the left. I should have reduced the left by like maybe 5. Let's actually see. Left side, right side, no, left side. Let's reduce it. Yeah, so look, if you would pull the left side by like what, 5.5 dB, this evens out. This is a massive like discrepancy between like 10 dB difference. But hey, if you just, this is again no EQ, no nothing. So this 10 dB down this massive peak. And this is kind of similar. And that's why I mentioned that they do image quite well, just because imaging is the difference between left and right. If you don't have a difference between left and right, you're gonna have image in the center. So literally this needs one peak to remove, maybe just this one, because it does sound not boomy but very full, especially like on vocals where you have a lot of energy in this area. It does sound full because I have a rise in my normal tune. I would have a rise from 200 and here, but it has more energy here. And this one, the dip, I think is due to the cabin dimensions, but with this one you cannot do anything. That's why you need, like in my car, a mid-range that would cover this area, because this is a dip. But apart from that, look, they kind of match. And again, this is absolutely no EQ, no nothing, and they play all the way up to 14k, something like that, which is not bad. And then when you sum them left and right, yeah, so let me actually highlight. Look, this is the sum, but this is without the left side level removed. So I should have removed the level of the left side. This is the sum of bullets plus pro audio mid-ranges. So you have a hole here, and as I mentioned, you have a bit more energy here between like 80 and 300. So this we need EQing a bit down, but like from 700 and up, yes, this is the cone breakup of the pro audio mid-ranges. So the thing is, when you listen it on normal levels like 80, 85, 90 dB, it sounds good. When you crank it up to like 100 plus 105, then everything starts to show all the nastiness and all the harshness. Like this area sounds really harsh, but on loud levels, on normal listening levels, it sounds okay. So if you apply smoothing like 1/3, let's apply to this one. There we go. It's not bad. It's like just this extra energy that needs EQing down. And this is the thing, is like I'm so surprised, because it sounds, I don't want to say I'm surprised, I'm really shocked how it exceeded my expectations. I don't want to say how good it sounds, but how it exceeded my expectations, because I literally thought that it's gonna sound really bad, and it doesn't. And the question now arises, why? Because these speakers are super cheap. So my theory is good treated doors, good sound source, good DSP, and good amplifiers. I think they contributed to the good sound, because speakers, if you don't push them, most of them are gonna play nice. If you start pushing them, yes, all the nastiness are gonna come out. Okay, let's check something. Oh, so I added the subwoofers as well, the front subwoofer and the IB subwoofer, and they do some, because the time alignment is the same, the distance is not that big, and yeah, so this could sum up a bit more, but hey, it's fine. Now let's have a look. I have left tweeter. Okay, so these tweeters I have left, I had them in the sale panels. The left one, the passenger side, was kinda like 30 degrees off axis. So when I put it directly on axis, it really didn't change anything. It was exactly the same, because it doesn't play that high. It don't play like up to 13k, and then they start to roll off, so they don't play that high, but this doesn't change, and it's expected. However, the right one, this is the right tweeter, and this is when I pulled it on axis, and then this massive peak came out as 7k, and it started to sound really harsh, really harsh. Even on like low volumes, it sounds really harsh, because this 7k peak, it's nasty, it's really nasty. So when you turn it off axis, like 60-70 degrees, that peak goes away, and then you have like from 8 this, which is not that bad. So this is on axis versus off axis. And yes, when you put them on axis, you're gonna get rid of all the reflections that are coming. So the only thing they will need is EQ down, just to pull it down, because off axis, yeah, the high frequencies are going all over the place, left side and center. It does image good like in this area between like 200 and like 5K, but the very, very high frequencies, they're all over the place just because it's off axis, and it's expected. I had the same results with a DP tweeter. Oh, DP tweeter. So this is the bullet, right side. This is the DP tweeter, which is a metal dome, just a normal metal dome tweeter. Exactly the same location is like an inch, maybe 2 inches difference, but it's almost the same location. So you can see how a pro audio like bullet tweeter plays from maybe like 5.5K and all of this. I'm not gonna count this. And a normal dome tweeter, it plays much lower. And this is a resonant cone breakup of the metal dome, so it's there. But yeah, normal tweeters play this area much lower, and bullets higher. So this is the right one, and let's have a look at the left one, the difference. Right, left, this one, exactly the same, yeah. So the bullet plays high, and the dome tweeter plays much lower. Now I tried to test it near field with the capacitor, no capacitor, because I didn't want to push it like very loud, the bullet. So bullet with where is it? There we go. Bullet with capacitor and bullet with no capacitor. So you just have literally just a little bit energy, extra energy here, and here it doesn't change anything, because yeah, bullets don't like to play low. They don't play low naturally. This is, I don't know why it's different, but it might be just like because I was holding it in hand, the distance is not the same. I just wanted to do a very rough test. And then I took another one because I have the a different kind of bullet. So these, the other bullets, this is with cap and no cap, and you can see it does pull down a little bit. And this is the other one, it has a slightly different shape. And what happens is that this one compared to this one, yeah. So the larger one, it does play a bit lower, but it doesn't play high. So the smaller one plays higher, but it has like, especially this dip, it has the smaller one. Maybe something happening like inside the mouth of that, I don't know. So this. And the last thing is on axis, off axis. I just literally hold it in my hand on axis. So this is smaller, the smaller one. On axis, actually we can zoom in a tiny bit. Something like this, yes. It has this nasty dip. I don't know why. So on axis 0 degrees, when you tilt it 30 degrees, obviously these start to fall off, that's expected. 45 degrees, even less stuff. 60 degrees, you can start seeing like the level drop. But like here, I shouldn't count this because it doesn't really, you're not gonna play this. This should be EQ down. But like 60 degrees off axis, something similar like I have in my car, 45 and 60, you can see it starts to flat down. So it doesn't have, it has less level, but it's more flatter, the response. See, from like 5K all the way there. And then 90 degrees, because not, why not? Just the level, it falls down. It really falls the level. So you're losing like from on axis to go in 90 degrees, you're basically losing all the level. And then I tried the other one. So this was the smaller one, and this is the bigger tweeter. On axis, you can see it plays much lower. So like this. This is the blue is the smaller bullet, and the green one is the larger one with the larger mouth. So this is what I mean, like the smaller mouth plays a bit higher, doesn't play low, has this nasty dip for some reason, and the big mouth, it plays a bit lower. So 0 degrees, 30, again, top falls off, 45 falls off even more, 60 now you start losing the level, and 90. So yeah, level lost. Okay, so this and what's this one? So the difference between 0 degrees and 90, basically you're losing the level, but the response is kind of okay. So just to very quickly to summarize this experience, it was an eye-opening experience for me, because I didn't expect that this thing can sound anything like good, but it actually did. The tweeters, I will do like a tune. I'm gonna try to do a full tune with EQ, because now I had absolutely no EQ, nothing. So I'm gonna try to EQ this, try to fix like this area a bit, to do time alignment, get rid of that this peak, just to bring it down and see what it does. But it's surprisingly good. Now the doors, again, not ideal, so they do rattle, you lose some energy, the tweet is off axis, the high frequencies bounce from left to right all over the place, but it exceeded my expectations by a mile. Like, I'm surprised. And I will be installing these bullets with the mid-ranges. I'm gonna leave them in the door, I'm gonna tune it, and I'm gonna have a separate preset on a separate amplifier, probably just for demos, just to compare how like a 50-pound two-way sounds when it's properly installed and tuned correctly. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.